Hey, what's going on, kids? It's me, the Cool Scout. Yeah, we're gonna be having a hip cool chat about scout balance. Ho!
What did they expect?
Not really. We're actually having a bit of a chat about our friend the Spy. What did you think we were going to be having a chat about? The Scout. That class is amazing. Why would you ever want to balance him? Leave him as is. Anyway, hello. Welcome back. How are you all doing today? Today we're going to be having a nice chat, a nice sit, a nice talk about spy balance. This video is hopefully going to be a lot shorter than that Pyro one, as, to be honest, a lot of his stuff's pretty balanced. So I think it'll be quite a nice little video. Naturally, yes, to have a nice little chat about some weapons that are a little shite.
What a disaster!
That's exactly what I think, Spy. And then some weapons are already pretty great. Yeah, they were pretty outclassed. So we're going to have a bit of a chat, and I will immediately actually start off. But just as a little preface, if you haven't seen this channel before, hello, how are you all doing today? I've played a lot of Spy, by far my most played class, and I've also played him for like, I don't know, like 20 seasons of Highlander nearly. I don't know. I've played a lot of Spy, and a lot of Spy in like Prem and Platinum and stuff, so I've got a lot of experience on this class, so feel free to like factor that into your thoughts and feelings. And the other thing is I've also played loads of other classes, so I've got a decent idea of what it's like to play Spy, and what it's like to play Spy against good players, and what it's like to play against good spies. So I think my opinion on this is probably the only, like, the class that I have the most traction on. So, you know, listen to me with what I'm saying, please. Anyway, we're going to start immediately with the stock loadout. This loadout, I think, is 100% fine, doesn't need any rebalancing. I think it's completely fine, and there's nothing they need to do to change it. Alright, so the Your Eternal Reward. This weapon used to be really, really fun. It used to be a bit of a weird challenge, so it wasn't necessarily viable and competitive, but it was a lot of fun in pubs. And for some reason, Valve looked at this and were like, hey, let's make this a competitive knife. So you know what they did? They completely slashed it, and they made it into a really, like, they've removed the only challenge from it, and making it really easy for bad spies, and then they added on a cloak inhibitor, making it really bad for good spies, basically making it just a trash knife. So, like, you still have to use it if you want to use the Eternal Reward, there's no alternative, but, like, it's just really bad. It's like they nerfed it, well, they nerfed it for good spies, and they buffed it for bad spies. Good spies never had an issue with getting a first disguise, and bad spies never had an issue with cloak management, because they never know what they're doing half the time anyway with cloak. So it's just, it made no sense that they added this to me. Clearly they wanted it to be like, I don't know, maybe they wanted to counterbalance the other balances they did that update for Spy, but it made no sense to me. So, I mean, I make sure, I don't really care that much about the change. I just think they made the knife really boring. I used to enjoy the challenge, and now it's just another stock knife reskin, essentially. Like, the whole disguise on people thing is cool, but it's not game-changing for the most part. Like, everyone thought, oh, maybe it'll be great and competitive because it's silent killer, and it's instant disguise. It turned out that, like, if you can get 2 backstabs in a row, the team was bad anyway, and you could probably do it with any knife. So, like, it didn't really change anything. You could already use the old Eternal Reward in lobbies and stuff, so this update made no sense for me. So, I would like to propose a change. Leave the Eternal Reward as is, and give the Wanga Prick its old stats, or vice versa. I don't really care. Because right now, the Wanga Prick and the Eternal Reward are literally reskins of each other. They do the exact same thing. And there's kind of some boats that say they like the new Eternal Reward, and some that say that, well, most people say they don't really, or they don't really care. So I would like, because it's just a reskin, literally not doing anything beyond just being a reskin, and it's been out for long enough at this point that it costs like a scrap anyway, why not just split them, you know? Make it so one of them has the old stats of being a difficult knife, maybe the Wanga Prick, and your Eternal Reward has the new stats of being, well, easier, I guess, with a bit less cloak. I think that would be nice. It wouldn't break the game, and it would add more variety. It would just be a bit of a fun change. I don't think it would break anything, and I would really enjoy that. Okay, so the next weapon I'm going to very, very briefly touch on is the Kunai. This is probably my favourite weapon in the game, or one of them. You know, they used to have another one, wink wink. But anyway, this weapon's really, really fun, and I just want to say that I think it's pretty balanced as is. I think it was balanced before they buffed it. You used to start on way less health, and you didn't used to gain as much health off of victims, and now they buffed it. I don't know, it's been maybe a couple of years now, and I think it's in a really, really good spot. It's not necessarily better than the stock. My spy just wanted to laugh for a second there, forgive him. It's not necessarily, like, broken as hell. Like, it's not just straight better than the stock knife or the Spicicle. It's really, really fun still. They didn't break the difficulty of the knife, really. They made it easier, but not so substantially easier that it's just easy mode, basically. And it's actually viable in Highlander. I've ran this for a whole couple of seasons of ETF2L at this point, just to pee around and have fun. And it's perfectly fine. Unlike King of the Hill, where you're going to be dying loads anyway, having 210 health is amazing. It's like a mini little dead ringer. Like, if you run onto a combo, like say that this medic and this heavy are pushing on King of the Hill product, which is Viaduct Pro, if I get the medic, that heavy will probably turn around and maul me on 125 or probably less when playing King of the Hill. I will probably stab the medic and be on like 80 health. But with the Kunai, you stab the medic, you have 210 health, and then the 20% bonus on the invis. You can normally escape on that. It's actually really, really, really good. I love this weapon. I think it's perfectly fine and they should leave it as is. If they can revert the changes on it, but I just don't leave it. This thing's fun. If you haven't tried using the Kunai too much, it's one of my favourite weapons. It is so, so, so fun. But I think it's fine. The L'Étranger, very briefly, I think it's totally fine, very balanced, and it's perfectly fine exactly where it is. So I'm just going to say that's that bit out of the way. Another weapon, which I just want to quickly point out, is the Cloak and Dagger. It exists. I think it's balanced, to be honest. I don't think they really need to do anything to change it. Like, it's kind of slow, kind of boring, but it does the job. Like, at most, if they want to change it, they could make it recharge a bit faster and little things like that, but I don't think it matters. Like, giving it more jump height when cloaked, so just stupid little things like that. Please don't. Just stop overcomplicating stuff. Leave it as is. The Cloak and Dagger's fine. I don't really like it because it's boring, but it works. It's balanced. Alright, so we've just talked about a couple of weapons that I think are like really, really quite balanced, like the stock spy loadout, the kunai, the eternal reward for the most part. Like these weapons are fine. The invis, the cloak and dagger, these are all fine. There's one weapon that spy has that's substantially broken. You know what this weapon is? It's the diamondback. This thing is broken as Christ. Like, anytime I see a comment on Reddit of someone trying to argue that it's not broken, I just break down a little inside. Like, it's okay. Let me just briefly break down why this is. If you're wondering, like, if you just don't know, well, what's wrong with the diamondback? It rewards you for spy's job. Haha. So it gives you free. Okay, right. Okay, so TF2 is really balanced a lot around HP values, damage values, and how easy stuff is to get. Soldier can theoretically do crap loads of damage on direct rockets, but most people aim with splash damage. Scout could theoretically one-shot other scouts with the pistol if he hit everything in his clip, but most of them will go for like 3 or 4 meat shots with the scattergun, because it's got a bit of spread on it, it's a bit easier to aim than all the pistol shots. Heavy's got 300 health because he can tank loads, but he's slow, and all of this stuff. It's all balanced around health and easy to do damage, and basically harder to do damage is normally really rewarding, like hitting a fully charged headshot on a jumping soldier. That does loads of damage. It's hard to hit. Compared to, say, tracking with the SMG, you'll only do like 2 or 3 damage a shot at that distance, or like 4 or 5. But you'll still do some damage and it's easier to get. The diamondback is no different to aim to any other revolver. In fact, it's got a perfectly accurate shot on the first shot. Every bullet in this game does, that I think of. There's probably like the new panic attack might break this rule, but for the most part, pretty much every single hit scan bullet weapon in this game fires a single perfect shot. I guess excluding the minigun, that might not. But anyway, if you wait about 1.2 seconds, it's been a little while, but I think it's around 1.2 seconds or reload, the single shot will be fired straight down the crosshair, directly at your crosshair, and do full damage. Just complete full damage. At that point, bullet spread kicks in and all that. But basically, this is a 102 free shot that you get for doing absolutely no input, and you can store up to a million zillion of them. I think it's actually like 15, 20. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The fact that you can hold more than 6 is stupid enough. The fact that it doesn't lower your clip, and you can just spam 6 of these forever. Like, I can run up to this heavy, and I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could theoretically have just done 600 damage to him. Why? I backstabbed 2 people and sapped 2 teleporters so I can do 600 damage. That is broken. That makes no sense. It is not difficult to use. It's banned in every competitive league for a good reason. Or every Highlander league, I could say. Because it literally just means, here's a medic, here's his demo friend. I'm playing Highlander, I'm playing Spy. Oh, get out of the way, Scout. I played Spy, I'm waiting my turn, and that medic and demo are moving up. So I'm going to go try and get one of those picks. If I can get 2, that's incredibly unlikely a lot of the time, because of spy checking and shit, but if I can get 1 pick, that'll be really good. So I'm just going to run up, get the demo man, and then immediately die. Because I'd have to hit 2 close-range ambi headshots, or 3 revolver body shots to kill him. How about instead I'm using the diamondback, and I backstab one guy, and then go for 2 body shots to kill him. That is so silly. And the fact that you can also do that from all the way over here, miles and miles and miles away, and just go pew 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 pew. It's silly. I've gone on and on, but I'm basically just going to say this weapon's broken. How do you fix it? Well, very, very simple. Either you replace it with mini crits, so it does around 54 damage, 58 damage, somewhere around that region. Seems quite meaningful. In close range, that's basically no different. Like, in close range, it's no that much different to a stock revolver. It does a little bit more damage, but at long range, it means that you could do around 3 body shots to kill an enemy player for 3 backstabs. That seems kind of okay. Not amazing, not broken, but kind of in the middle of the damage revolvers that are hard to use, and the long-range damage revolver that's even harder to use, basically. So, that just doing mini crits would be fine. If they want, they can also add on a max range to it, and if they really want, they can add on damage ramp up. So if you're in super close range, i.e. you've just sapped the engineer's buildings, you've backstabbed his friendly engineer, his pyro, and sapped 3 buildings, you've got a bunch of crits, maybe in close range, he'll let you 2-shot that engineer on body shot. That's kind of okay. And then also make it so that at a distance the thing does literally piddly nothing. I think a really, really fun thing would be if the moment you equip the weapon, they just ban your account. I think that would be hilarious. But no, anyway, just doing mini crits would be kind of okay. They could also make it so it only has like 1 clip a shot, or perhaps something like, you have absolutely nothing in your revolver at all, so it does literally nothing. But then once you start farming crits, you can shoot those crits as bullets. The Spike team's quite happy with that, because that would basically mean that, like, if you've sapped 3 buildings, you have 3 revolver shots, regardless of damage. Only having 3 shots is kind of shit, but those 3 shots would be really high damage, so I don't know if that would necessarily balance it, but it's an interesting thought. I don't think it would really help, though, but yeah. Just shoving mini crits on it would work, shoving a max range on it could work, just lowering the clip as well, lowering it to 3 shots would also work. Unlike the Engineer with the Frontier Justice, you can completely circumvent that 3-shot clip by simply using the shotgun, and then if you die, switching to the Frontier Justice, and then just break your sentry, and then you start with crits. You can't start with crits on the Diamondback. You always start with nothing at all. So it having a lower clip side would actually be a proper downside. Plus, on top of that, they could just make it so you can only hold up to, like, 3 crits or something. That would also work. It would mean that you can, like, murder one guy, sure, but then when his friend comes up, you've got no revolver and no crits. So, I don't know, there's loads of things they can do to balance this weapon, yet for some reason they've completely left it in the dark and decided this is totally fine. 3 crits for literally nothing. It makes no sense. Just, also don't use it. If you're using this, I'm disappointed in you. That's not the right voice line. Alright, I've argued on about the Diamondback. I need to stop now. Alright, hello. So now we're actually on a slightly more interesting part. We're going to talk about 2 weapons very quickly. I think that the Big Earner is completely fine. I personally don't like using it, and then there's some people who really like using it. That's, first of all, quite a balanced thought. Like, some people really like this knife. They think it's amazing. It's really easy to get matadors with. It's really easy to get chain stabs with. I hate it because you have less health and it makes shooting stuff harder because you'll only be able to take 1 shot from like a demo man, a soldier, or a scout before you die. I really like shooting people, so this knife makes that worse. Some people don't like shooting people, so that makes this knife really good. I think it's balanced and it's totally fine. They can leave this as is. The Enforcer, on the other hand, this weapon is absolute trash. When it was released, it was broken as shit. It was a revolver that just did more damage. That was it. That was its thing. It did more damage. I think it was like you cloak a bit slower. Or something stupid like that. So yeah, it was broken. It just 2-shot scouts at close range. It made no sense. And it did 144 in crit and it had random crits on it. So that wasn't okay. So then they nerfed it so that it only did more damage if you were undisguised. So people literally just bound left click to undisguise. Made no, like just really stupid because it meant that it made no difference from that balance change. So they decided, hey, it's really hard to balance a weapon that does more damage, especially on the revolver that's already balanced really, really well. So they just nerfed it into the ground so it's useless. The only use it has now is being better than the Ambassador. Ha 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 ha. It is. It 2-shot snipers if you're disguised, and that's the only use you'd need the Ambassador for these days, is to 2-shot those Razorback snipers. But anyway, it's in a bit of a ditch right now, and people have a bit of difficulty working out how they'd balance it, because considering they want to give it an interesting stat. One guy in my comments has written like 5 comments about how he really wants it to have bleed. I don't understand that, but sure, maybe having a bleed revolver, like leaving it as shit as it is now, but making it so it applies a little bit of bleed when you hit, and if you hit multiple shots in a row, maybe it builds up bleed, a bit like a Dark Souls weapon. That actually that sounds kind of fun, actually. Just a little, like, if you shoot them once, it has like a second of bleed, so it does nothing. But if you shoot them 3 times, they get like 3 seconds of bleed, and then it builds up. That sounds kind of fun, actually. I've just pulled that out of my bum. That actually sounds, I like that, actually. That's also not the right voice line. Anyway, the other idea I've always had, excluding that cool one that I've just had, is that they could just make it into the lock and load. The lock and load also had this issue, where it was it was the grenade launcher that was easier to aim, and 1-shot scouts if you hit them on the head and they died from full damage. It made no sense. It was just a grenade launcher that was easier to aim and did more damage. It was really stupid. And you know how they balanced it? made it better against buildings. Like, it's worse right now. It's like, literally, it's a crutch. There's not very many weapons in the game that are literally crutches. So something like the lock and load is easier to aim, poof, poof, but does less. Like, it has one less clip. So, it's really good for new players who are already going to miss all their pipes. So the one less pipe isn't that big of a deal because they'll hit more. But it's really bad for good players who can already aim their pipes because they have one less 100 damage pipe. That's literally a crutch. That's what it is. It doesn't mean a crutch doesn't have to be overpowered. It just has to make good players bad and new players better. More building damage was what they did. They could just add that onto this thing. So, if you didn't know, when you sap a building and then shoot it, it won't take full revolver damage if it's a sentry gun. If you've placed the sapper, that is. I think if someone else has placed the sapper, you do full damage, but I might be wrong about that. Anyway, if there's like a building in here, like this cow, if I were to sap this cow and shoot it a bunch, if it's a dispenser or a teleporter, I can take it down with my stock revolver really easily. But if it's a sentry gun, it has a bit of built-in resistance to the spy's revolver. Kind of interesting, but they could just make it on the enforcer, so it just does loads of damage to buildings. So if I run up to a level 3 sentry nest, there's, it's a pub, for example, there's like 3 sentries in a row. If I run up, sap all of them, and shoot each of them twice, they should all die within the next couple of seconds. That would be quite a nice little change. You'll make it a little niche anti-engineer, anti-sentry gun, even revolver. That would be kind of cool. Maybe they could make it so 2 shots minis, because right now, if you didn't know, all of the good revolvers, 3-shot minis at literally every range, excluding the L'étranger, but like the stock, the Ambi used to, still does I guess, but the stock, the Ambi, and the Enforcer and the Diamondback, all 3-shot mini sentries, I believe. So if they made it so the Enforcer 2-shot mini sentries, I think that would be a pretty good little damage margin. So at long range you go pew pew, no more mini sentries, and it will be a nice little utility gun for those people who maybe don't normally use that gun. It will be an alternative to the L'étranger, because right now the L'étranger is the only shooty gun he has, really. Like, the Diamondback's all about shooting it, the Ambassador is all about shooting it, the revolvers gives no benefit other than shooting it, so having another utility revolver would be nice. I think that's the only slot it actually fits in. We don't need another damage revolver. Another utility one would be nice. So either, sure, add on bleed, I actually kind of like that idea. But, yeah. Making it like anti-sentries, I think, would be pretty good. Like, being able to sap a sentry and then 3-shot it just seems pretty good. It means the spy wouldn't be able to do shit against the engineer, because it's a bad revolver. So the engineer could just shotgun the spy twice. But if the spy's good and can dodge and, have all these good movements and stuff, he can take out the sentry no problem. I like that. That's my thought on balancing the enforcer. Alright, it's been long enough. We've saved off the best to last. We're going to now talk about the red tape recorder. That's right. Well, we'll talk about these in a little bit. But the red tape recorder, I'm going to very briefly pass over. I think this is one of the worst weapons in the game, and there's zero reason to use it at all. There you go. That's my opinion. My opinion based off of the fact that I've got 23,000 saps on the stock and 14 on the red tape recorder. I've played this class many times. I have never, ever come across a situation... People are always like, oh, what about a sentry nest? Never once come across a situation where I want to de-level his sentry instead of just shooting the engineer and breaking it instantly. The one upside people regularly say is that it's slightly better against minis. I say, why? Just sap the mini and kill the engineer. He can't put up another mini if you just shoot the engie. If you aren't good enough to be able to DM an engineer, you've got to practice shooting. Don't use a weird bad sapper to try and make up for the fact that you can't kill the engineer. If minis are that big of a deal as well, there's loads of other things you can do. If you're in a pub, you can go direct hit soldier and one-shot them, and then one-shot the engineer with an air shot. Like, there's so many things you can do. Okay, that's going a little bit over the top, but basically there is no reason to use this. De-leveling a sentry, there's no reason to do that. People are like, oh, if the engineer removes the sapper, it will go from level 3 to level 2. So what? He can break and put it back up to level 3 in 8 hits. It takes no time at all to make it a level 3 again. You are not helping your team. Like, if you go in, backstab an engineer and sap his sentry and sap his teleporter, and then you die, the buildings might not break. Like, in the 20 seconds it takes for him to respawn and run back to his sentry, he might just be able to unsap everything, and then you did literally nothing for your team. If you just destroyed everything with a stock sapper, then he has no buildings, and your team can push onwards. So please. I'm not going to ask people just to blindly listen to what I say that often. But on this one, please believe me, it's really, 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 really bad. Like, minis aren't big enough of an issue to nerf yourself for. Level 3 sentries, just break them. Just destroy them. If there's a whole sentry nest and you're like, oh, but I can de-level them and go demo man. If you're playing in a pub and there's 8 sentries and you're having difficulty as spy, just shoot one pipe at them. Seriously. Just, it's not good. It's a bad weapon. Anyway, that aside, Feel free to disagree. And like, I know some people really like this thing. I don't understand. But anyway, it's really hard to balance a sapper. It's such a weird weapon. So there's one thing they could do, is they could go really down that path and make it, instead of breaking the building, it's a utility sapper that somehow otherwise affects a building, assuming an engineer can sap it. That was a really bad English way to say, make it so it gives more of a bonus to not destroying buildings. Right now, the bonus to not destroying buildings is taking 800 years to break it, basically. My idea, very simple idea, is add on a bit of a Cowmangler alt-fire. I was about to say Cowmangler. Cowmangler alt-fire. Cowmangler alt-fire temporarily disables a building, as does the sapper now. They added that a couple of years ago, but when you finish sapping a building, it's temporarily disabled for a bit, which what that means is a dispenser won't dispense anything, a sentry won't shoot anyone, and a teleporter won't teleport anyone for a couple of seconds. If they want to balance the red tape recorder, increase the time. That's it. That's all they have to do. Make it so that, use the sapper if you know the sentry is going to go down and you can break it. If you know you can't take a sentry down, you can use the red tape recorder to basically make it useless for a little bit to give your team even more time. Like, I've had plenty of situations where my team in Highlander has been like, alright, go sap the sentry, and I've sapped it, and in about 2 seconds I've been shot at by 4 people, murdered, and then he's removed the sapper, and then my team moves in, because they don't know how to time. Anyway, this would be quite nice for situations like that, where you can work with your team, knowing that you have a little bit more time to take out the sentry, and it's not your job to take it out. If you have a demo or a soldier to help, you disabling it means your soldier can just run up to it, or your scout can run up to it and shoot it. This would also make it amazing against minis, even more so. In Highlander or King of the Hill, even just lakeside in a pub, sapping a mini and then having it disabled for a couple of seconds, on top of it taking 83,000 years to destroy, would be a huge pain for the engineer, to be honest. And it would also mean your scout could run up and just shoot the mini a couple of times because it wouldn't shoot him. So yeah, simple fix. Just make it so it disables building for longer. Don't know what the balanced amount of time is, because for a bit the sapper was there were some weird bugs with it where you could have infinite sentry guns, but we're not gonna infinitely HP sentry guns. If any of you remember that, you could have a sentry with like 1 billion HP abusing the sapper when they added that in. But anyway, very briefly, the Spicicle. I think this weapon's quite balanced. It's gone through quite a lot over the years. When it was released, I think it was just straight better than the stock. It used to have Silent Killer on it, meaning that people didn't make screams when you killed them and there was nothing in the kill feed, like the Eternal Reward. That was just on this knife. It also made you immune to fire. Immune, as in you take 0 damage for, I think, 2 seconds, which is more than enough to kill him, and then also immune to afterburn for like 8 or 7 or 10 seconds or something like that. But basically, it was like really good. And then they nerfed it so it no longer has Silent Killer. And then they also nerfed it so it only has 1 second of fire immunity, which is still pretty good, and you still have afterburn. So basically it's like the removed afterburn. So if you're taking afterburn, you're going poof, 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 poof. You pull this out, remove the afterburn, and then continue to shoot him. Or if you're running around cloaked, you pull it out to stop taking afterburn. That's kind of the main use. If you do run up to a pyro, you can like pull it out, shoot him twice. That's one of the still reasons. I really like the Spicicle. It's like, I've got 34,000 on my stock knife, and only 23,000 on my Spicicle, but most of these Spicicles are from the last couple of years. The stock I stopped using as often a couple of years ago, but yeah, I like this knife. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't understand why they made it recharge an ammo pack. That was just a free buff, but it made it cool, I guess. Ha ha ha. But yeah, there's actually a glitch associated with this, which I'm not going to be able to show off, I think. Give me a sec. Okay, there should be no way possible for me to recreate this glitch, because it happens quite rarely. Pretend I'm that blue spy. Hello, blue spy. Hello, Woolen. Yeah. If you are using the stock knife, and the enemy spy is using the Spicicle, if you disguise as that Spicicle spy, you will have the weird smoky part. You see on the bottom left, you see all that steam? You'll have that steam following you around. What on earth, Ambassador? What's wrong there? It's broken. Anyway, yeah, you'll have the steam following you around, even though you're using the stock knife, because you're disguised as a Spicicle spy, and it'll follow you around while you're invisible. Oh dear, let's not do that. Okay, no, it's a bit hard to recreate, but you'll probably find clips on YouTube of it, of like people shooting invisible Spicicle spies. You yourself might have seen this very thing yourself. You might literally have seen little puffs of smoke floating around in the air. That's a Spicicle spy. That's what's caused that. That's a Spicicle spy running around. Also, I can't believe I've recreated this. I don't know how I've recreated this glitch here in my hand on multiple weapons. I didn't even know you could do that on private servers. But anyway, yeah, that's just a glitch. I don't know how they're going to fix that, but please try to. Like, it's sometimes just a free wall hack. The spy is invisible, but you can see him because the other spy's running the spycicle. It's nuts. It doesn't happen so much to me because I use the scout disguise all the time, so I don't have to worry about it, but loads of other spies who do use the spy disguise have that issue. So anyway, yeah, I think the spycicle's fine. They just need to fix that glitch. It's kind of minor, but they can fix that. So, alright then, yeah, you've waited. Let's have a very brief chat about the ambassador. So, I've already made a half an hour, I already spent a week even making a half an hour long video talking about the weapon and its balancing and its balance changes over the years and its history and all of this. I can't fit that into like 20 seconds because it took me a week to make. So if you haven't seen that Let's Talk About the Ambassador video, please go watch it. It has all of my thoughts and feelings on this weapon. I've used this weapon quite a lot. I've got 42,000 kills on it. All of those from before the Pyro update because I stopped using it the moment they changed it. Why did I stop using it the moment they changed it? Well, if you haven't seen it, I also made a video even that compares the stock knife to the Ambassador. And I proved that it is just a direct downgrade in 99% of situations. It was like one upside where I think it kills, in like mid-range, it kills a soldier half a second faster if you hit all your headshots. Like, there's no reason to use it. It's probably the worst weapon in the game. Like, the Fire Axe at least kills people. It does 195 if you kill people. Like, you know, it has direct upgrades in the 3rd degree and stuff, but at least it itself isn't trash. This weapon is awful. It's worse than the stock revolver. Its utility is hard to use and gives less bonus than the stock revolver. If you're not going to be using your gun, the L'Étranger gives you a bonus to cloak all the time. Most of the people who use this weapon aren't going to hit 100% headshots with it. They're going to occasionally try to use it to pick off low HP targets that are running in a straight line. That's the most normal kills that people will get with it. Not going to see that anymore. This weapon's hard to use, it gives no bonus, and it's bad. It's really, really, really bad. And also the Diamondback exists. If you're playing in pubs, the Diamondback gives you free crits on body shot for sapping things. And backstabbing engineers, they're AFK in the corner. There is zero reason to use this weapon, please don't use it. How do you fix it? You completely revert the changes on it. I am going to say this wholeheartedly and truthfully. I think it was completely 100% balanced before the change. No argument. I don't want to hear any. I think it's perfectly fine. This thing's hard to use. It's taken me like 1,500 hours to get any decent with it. How many people are going to put that many hours into one gun? Not very many. Like, the majority of pub spies will hit maybe 1 or 2 headshots an entire map, and half the time it will be on a guy that's standing still. So nerfing it for good players made absolutely zero sense, and they didn't do anything else to it. They just straight nerfed it and made it really bad. Adding max range to it makes no sense. Bad spies aren't going to hit long-range headshots anyway, and good spies who can do it have practiced loads and loads and loads. Why would you remove that? Well, it's practice. It's why would you not reward skill? Like, it's difficult to do. It's not going to happen that often. There's a reason frag videos for spies have like 2 clips of them headshotting at long range, because in a whole season they'll only get like 2 kills at long range. It's hard to do. So removing that utility makes it completely useless, and also kind of buffs sniper a little bit in competitive. Nerfing the Razorback helps, but spy used to be able to counter sniper way easier with the Ambassador, because you could, like, a sniper can still sit inside of a sentry with a Razorback. And now, if you're using the revolver, you have to, like, sap the sentry gun, hope people don't kill you in the next 1.5 seconds, and then hit every shot on him to kill him. That's ridiculous. With the Amber, you can at least stand a mile away and hope he doesn't run away. So yeah, completely revert the changes. I don't want to hear any more nonsense about it. This thing's hard to use. It rewards good people. Reward good people, please. If you want to hear more than that, mindless yelling, please go watch the video that I spent a week making talking about it. It'll make a lot more sense. But yeah, it's balanced. Revert it. Thank you. If they really, really wanted to, by the way, they could actually, like, that aside, they could actually just add on a minus 20% cloak on it, or something like that. That would make it so it's harder to get to stupid positions, like bad water roof, where people can just spam aimlessly, but a good spy can still use what little cloak they've got to get away or DM the person chasing them. Because that would nerf everyone, but good spies could at least work around it. The nerf they implemented, there is zero way to work around it. So if they added a workaroundable nerf, that would be fine. Making it hard to do headshots is bad. People are not going to hit that many headshots anyway. If you hit 3 headshots in a row, congrats, you're really good. Why would you remove that? People are saying, like, increase the timer on headshots. How often are you hitting double headshots? That's actually big of a deal. Like, come on. But yeah, making it so it's hard to get to stupid positions is perfectly fine to me. I'd much prefer something like that, something that nerfs the spy other than the actual damage output, than just making it a trash weapon. So yeah. Personally, I think it was completely fine without any rebalancers at all, and they should. But if they really want to, they can make it so it's like it has a little bit less cloak on it or something. But anyway, I've gone on. Revert it. Thank you. Finally, we have one last weapon to talk about, and I'll be brief. I've also made a long video talking about the Deadringer changes and balances, so just very briefly to sum it up. First of all, please watch it. It's way more in depth than this. If you want an actual conversation about it, go watch that video. It's quite good. But yeah, very, very brief analysis is it used to be a damage blocker. That was all it did. And then they added a speed boost to it and made it very brain dead. Okay? Just TLDR. It used to be the case that you could chase a spy very easily and kill him. He had a lot of damage resistance, yes, but they were also very predictable. A bad spy would just run to an ammo pack, or a good person could just mad milk them, set them on fire, shoot them, run to the ammo pack, whatever you want to do. They were easy to kill because you could chase them, and everyone thought it was actually really, really bad until a couple of really good guys used it. So it wasn't even necessarily that broken. It was kind of cool, but it wasn't stupid as hell. And the speed boost made it so everyone can use it. It's really hard to track because a spy can run to any ammo pack they want without even thinking about it. It's just silly. Like, it's really fun. Yes, the speed boost is very fun, but it's brain dead. Yeah, basically. So they nerfed the Deadringer in the update. I like that. The Deadringer was really really broken, in a sense. That was easy to use. For the upside of you never dying ever. However, I think they made it useless and there's no reason to actually use it seriously. Like, I've ran it for, like, shits and giggles, basically. You can run it with a L'Étranger and do, like, really, really shit with it, but you don't die. But it's bad. There's no reason to actually use it seriously in Highlander. In pubs, do what you want. You could slap people with a fish and top score in a pub, so I don't really care. It's still... okay, not really that. Like, I'd much rather run the Invis 100% of the time over it, is basically what I'm saying. And I'm saying that as someone with 89,000 Deadringers popped. That's a lot. That's a lot of... like, that's a lot. I've used this weapon quite a lot, and I don't like it. That tells you how great it is. Anyway, TLDR, rebalancing it. Just revert it to pre-gunmetal, I believe is the update that added the speed boost. Literally, all they have to do, make it so it doesn't have the speed boost, it doesn't have the fire resistance, and it doesn't have this nerf of no cloak gain from ammo. That's really, really bad. What you do is you make it into a damage blocker. 75% is perfectly fine. They don't need to rebuff it to 80 or 90, whatever they want. 75% damage resistance is totally fine. 80 would be appreciated, but 75 does the job. Make it so that once you pop it, it's just the old Deadringer. You run at spy speed, and, you know, if you're smart, you'll run into a corner and then DM people who chase you, or you'll run to an ammo pack and recharge. The crux, you're saying. What's the crux? That's surely still quite good. Yes. You know what the crux is? They already did this and then removed it. So the Deadringer didn't used to fully charge off of large ammo packs. They added that as a buff when they added the speed boost for God knows what reason. It used to be the case that you would only get, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but only about 30% cloak from boxes. What does that mean? Well, that means that a large ammo pack only refills 30% of your cloak meter. That's balanced. That's cool. That means that if you run across a broken up sentry, you only get like half your cloak back. If you run across like Badwater Last, where there's 2 giant ammo packs, you have to pick up both of them to get your full charge. You know, by the time you've ran there and back, you'll have refilled it anyway. With the speed boost, they made it so that you can fully recharge off a pack, meaning you could just zing, 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 and pop Deadringers left, right, and centre madly, easily. You didn't have to think about it. You saw a large pack, that's a Deadringer charge, you could easily undecloak and then immediately pop again. So, simple. Make it so it was how it used to be, just a damage blocker, no speed boost, and make it so ammo packs, or large ammo packs specifically, maybe, only recharge a third, okay? That's very balanced for me. Not spammable. That's not spammable. There's almost no maps in the game where there's multiple large ammo packs together, and even then, they're normally wide in the open so you can shoot the spy anyway. It's not broken and brainless because there's no speed boost. You actually have to think about where you're going to go and recharge, and if you don't, you know, if you've undeadringed in an unfortunate place and the scouts chased you, you just have to shoot the scout and beat him in deathmatch. You have to be better to actually get out of there. You can't just brainlessly run away. You have to be good at the game. So that would make it a really good knife, a really good watch even for good spies, a really good watch for people who want to shoot stuff. And, you know, it would be okay for people that want to stab stuff. You know, it's still a good little training knife. Like, if you haven't practiced enough with the Invis, but you still want to practice trick stabs and stuff, that's fair. You can't expect everyone to learn Spy the hard way. Like, I learned Spy playing Dust Bowl, Kunai, Ambassador, Invis. That's stupid. You get one shot. The Kunai only used to give you, like, 60 HP, and it's Dust Bowl, so there's 1,000 demo men. But I found it fun. I like difficult things. They make me happy. But yeah, you can't expect everyone to learn like that. If some people want to learn trick stabs with, like, the stock, you know, the Deadringer and the stock knife, and then they'll work onto the Invis, that's fine. Let them do that. You know, they're new. Just let them have their fun. But eventually they'll get to a point where they realise the stock Invis is just obscenely really, really, really good for positioning, and it lets you get almost every pick you want for free, at least once, and the Deadringer would just be really, really good for people that don't need that. You know, they're going to shoot people, they're going to have a fun time, and they practice and they're good. Anyway, I hope I brushed over everything I wanted to say. Basically, most of his weapons are very balanced and fine. I would like them to make it so the Eternal Reward and the Wanga Prick are different weapons, i.e., one of them is the current stats, where you have less cloak but you can disguise for the cost of all your cloak, and the other one has the old stats of normal, you know, just everything, you know, it's literally just you get a disguise when you stab someone, and that's it. And the Diamondback, if they want to, just make it so it does mini crits, make it maybe so it holds less in the clip, so you can get less shots. There's so many things they could do to balance it. Mini crits, I think, is actually the best way to do it, considering how easy it is to get the crits. Mini crits would be fine. You could 3-shot people across the map, or if you could 3-shot scouts across the map if you get lucky with bullet spread and you've sapped a bunch of buildings. Chances are it would actually take 4 or 5 shots, and at that point you're basically wasting 4 or 5 backstabs on one scout across the map, so you have to make a choice. That seems pretty balanced. Most of the time, you know, Revolver will be able to shoot stuff anyway. So it wouldn't be that bad. I think that would be fine. The Enforcer, I think, needs to be a utility nut gun instead of a damage gun. They just keep trying to, like, forcing it into this weird more damage for no reason, and they can't find a way to balance it. So they could just make it an alternative to the L'Étranger. The L'Étranger is the only real utility, only sole utility gun he has. I.e., you know, it gives you a bonus without actually using it that much. So if they just made it a building-destroying weapon, the Enforcer, make it so it does more damage to buildings, i.e., you know, 2 shots minis, maybe kills a level 3 and 1 or 2 less shots, that would be an okay little niche. They could also make it so it causes a little bit of bleed build-up, so if you shoot multiple shots, they'll get, you know, a second more. A bit like a weird little afterburn. I don't know what that would do. They could make it so that, you know, 1 or 2 shots, it's kind of bad, but if you might happen to hit 6, then it gets better than a revolver. It'd be interesting. You know, worse revolver for killing off low HP targets, but a better revolver for killing off high HP targets. Could be an interesting niche. But anyway, yeah, utility and killing buildings, I think, is a simple way to balance it, like the lock and load. Dead Ringer, reverse it completely. Just make it so it does damage resistance, no speed boost, no fire resistance, recharges only like 30% off of ammo packs. Not nothing at all, and not 100%. 33% is perfectly fine. Ambassador, 100% revert it. Don't do anything about it. It's completely fine. Revert it, please. Thank you. Thank you very much for reverting my weapon. It's very good. Yeah. Don't discourage good players, and don't discourage practice, alright? And other than that, like, you know, the L'Étranger is totally fine, the Stock's totally fine, Spicicle's totally fine, Kunai's totally fine, Eternal Reward, if they split it, will be fine, and the Stock's totally fine. Oh, and the Big Gunner. The Big Gunner's also cool. But anyway, yeah, that's going to end the video for today. Thank you very much for watching. Well, a bit longer than I was expecting, but I hope you did enjoy this. I might do more of these in the future for other classes. People did say they like the Pyro one. Also, we have a little wiggly friend here. Say hello. He's our Swedish doggo friend. He's lovely. But yeah, do keep in mind, you know, I would love to hear feedback, but do also keep in mind that I have played this class substantially. I've played loads of it. I've played them in pubs. I've played like 30, 20, I don't know how many seasons of Highlander, Premiership, Platinum. I've played, you know, loads of hours, thousands of hours of pubs and competitive as Spy and against Spy. You know, I've played against Toast. I've played against, you know, McNando, Chupa, Granger Bob, everyone. You know, I've played, you know, against Vildrack. I've played Pyro and Prem and all these things. So I've played against good gun spies. I've played against good knife spies. I've played as and with. So keep that in your mind. It's not like I don't have any experience. This is the only class I probably have literally full experience on with these kinds of things. So do keep that in mind when you are coming up with suggestions. But I do appreciate hearing nice thoughts, so do let me know if you have some nice thoughts, or if you like my doggo's waggy tail. Make sure to comment, waggy tail, we love you, if you want to have a good thoughts and restful sleeps for the next week. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.